Okay. I'm going to
AJ, how you doing?
I'm well, Nate.
Okay, well, you look good.
Thank you, Nate.
It looks like you're at a meeting. It's funny.
That's great.
There's Nate Levine. Okay.
Hello, friends. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas's 2020 annual meeting. While we are not all together in JCC Zale Auditorium this year, it is still so good to see each of your faces on our Zoom meeting tonight. Before we get started, I would like to introduce Alex Bonson, our Zoom technical host for tonight's meeting, who is here to ensure our meeting runs smoothly. Alex will now share some housekeeping items with us. Alex?
Thank you, AJ. Hello, everyone. For participants that have joined from a computer or a mobile device, you can mute and unmute yourself by clicking the mic icon in the bottom left. For anyone that has joined by a telephone, you can mute and unmute yourself by pressing *6. You can also turn your video on and off by pressing the video icon in the bottom left corner next to the mic. We do recommend keeping your view in speaker view, so you can change your view by clicking the speaker view option or gallery view option in the top right corner. Later in the meeting, when we start the voting session, if you have joined by a telephone, you will not be able to have the ability to vote in the poll, but you can press *9 to raise your hand and be counted as yes or no vote when instructed. Again, that is a *9 to raise your hand from a telephone. We will be keeping an eye out for Zoom bombing instances. If you notice any audio blips, we will be monitoring those and keeping them to a minimum. And if it gets too out of hand, we will have to end the meeting. We don't anticipate any interruptions tonight, but in the chance that there are disruptions, please know that we will take every measure to bring those to a close, and so we can avoid any having to shut down this meeting. And now I'll turn the meeting back over to AJ Rosemarin. AJ?
Thank you, Alex. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce Eli Davidson, who will sing both the Star Spangled Banner and Hatikva. Eli?
Eli's on mute.
Eli is on mute. Eli, you need to take it off of mute.
I can't do it.
I don't know if he can hear us.
Eli, quit singing.
Take it off of mute. I don't know.
Well, anybody call him or text him?
And the host unmute.
I've asked him to unmute, but he has to unmute himself from his end.
Unmute yourself, Eli. Goodness.
Can you hold up a sign that says Eli, to have him unmute? That might work.
He can't unmute every time.
Unbelievable. Okay,
He's never sounded better.
right. All right.
AJ, we're ready for you to sing.
That's what I was afraid of. Okay. All right, so we're lip syncing. Okay.
Okay, Mark, sing.
Mark, creditor. Can you unmute Mark?
I'm unmuted.
Would you mind stepping in for Eli?
Oh, Jose, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stars and bright stars through the perilous flight, all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner get waved?
Wait. Am I on now?
There you go.
Eli,
Okay, I'll go from the beginning.
You can just do Hatikva now, Eli.
Do the Hatikva, not the Star Spangled Banner?
we already got that done.
Okay. Kolos baleva perima, nefesh Yehudi homiya, vatem Mitra kadima, Tayem Tzion Sophia. התקווה בשנות 2000 להיותם חופשיים בארצנו ארץ ציון בירושלים להיותם חופשיים בארצנו
Thank you, Eli. And thank you, Mark, for stepping in. Now I'd like to introduce Rabbi Aryeh Feigenbaum of Congregation Or HaTorah to provide tonight's Devar Torah. Rabbi Feigenbaum.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you for having me this evening at this virtual annual meeting. It's an honor for me to be here. This week's Parsha, this week's Torah reading is the Parsha of Bahaloska, which speaks about the lighting of the menorah. Each day when we had the temple, the menorah was lit every day. And we are told exactly at the beginning of this week's Torah reading, we're told exactly how it's lit. And that commandment was given to Aaron HaKohen, to Aaron the high priest. Rashi, the great commentator, comments that the praise of Aaron was Shvachol shel Aaron shelo shina, was that he didn't change, that each day he approached his service, this service in the temple, he approached it the exact same way, with the same enthusiasm, the same dedication. And when we speak about serving God, consistency and going in with that same level of consistency, that he didn't change, that willingness to do the same thing each and every day, whether it's a good day, it's a bad day, it's a hard time, it's an easy time, that was Aaron's praise. I've had the privilege of serving on the health crisis management team since the beginning of coronavirus. And I will say that I take my hat off to the Federation, to Marion, to the whole team, the whole health crisis management team, because I think that this midah, this characteristic of Aaron, that no matter how difficult it is, that willingness to still do our avodas hakodesh, to still do our holy activity, that which God wants us to do, to care for the community, the individuals in the community as a whole, our institutions, is something that has been so meaningful to me and is something that is incredibly inspirational. And my bracha, my blessing to the Federation and to all who participate in it is that Hashem, that God should give us the strength and the ability to continue and to bring great things to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Feigenbaum. Last June, I spoke to you about what motivated me. My parents and in-laws of blessed memory, Max and Esther Rose Marion and Gerald and Gloria Silver. My journey, my commitment, and my vision. Tonight, I want to reflect on my first year and look ahead to the challenges we will surmount together. Let me start by referencing one of the great novels of all times, Charles Dickens's A Tale of Two Cities, which began as follows. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Indeed, it has been a year like no other. In a way, we as a community have experienced our own version of the 10 plagues our ancestors dealt with a few thousand years ago. But with two catastrophic events, the tornado that wreaked havoc on October 20th, and now the coronavirus pandemic, we have all been dealing with since mid-March. And while we were blessed, the tornado caused no deaths and was primarily the challenge of repairing or replacing bricks and mortar, the coronavirus catastrophe has indelibly altered our lives for years to come. Add that to the outrage our community feels about the violence of the Minneapolis, Minnesota police officers that led to the death of George Floyd. We share in the heartbreak, pain, and sorrow provoked by his loss. We commit to partnering with community leaders from the African American community and all communities of color to reverse systemic racism. Together, we can and must be stronger than hate. These episodes have challenged our community, our friends and family, our health, our wherewithal, and our psyche down to the core. Yet here we are, resilient and unbowed, determined and driven to go forward as your federation, as it has for 108 years here, because our Dallas area Jewish community needs the Federation's leadership, guidance, and resources. It has been the ultimate test and model of the power of the collective. This is what leaders do, and it is the mantra I have lived by during the first year of my 2-year term. In spite of the challenges, know that your Federation is here for you, as it is for over 70 other agencies, schools, and shuls, as the community convener through our Crisis Management Committee, convened by Federation when the pandemic sent all to shelter in place, to include many of our agencies in Zoom calls every other day. We ensure all are on the same page, no matter how large or how small the agency is, in serving the needs of our community. Please also note the Cooperative Emergency Fund established at the end of March, available to our community agencies through Federation and the Dallas Jewish Community Foundation to meet the urgent needs of those organizations and families impacted and out of options, a lifeline. We must still stay focused, laser focused, to close the Federation's 2020 annual community campaign by the end of June. Every donor, every gift is critically important to our community. The core allocation from the Federation's annual community campaign has a significant impact on our participating agencies' ability to provide services during the year, maybe now more than ever. Sadly, you don't have to venture far to find Jews in need in our area. So if you've not already done so, please make your gift to our campaign at jewishdallas.org/donate. To the Federation's officers and board members, your resilience has been put to the test, and all of you have stepped up. You know how much I will continue to embrace your insight. I always default to do the right thing and not cling to the status quo. To those of you who have completed your board service and are stepping down, thank you for your service. To those joining our board as of tonight, welcome to the epicenter of Jewish philanthropy. To the Federation's professional staff, led since August 1st by CEO Marion Feast, I do not take lightly your career commitment to Jewish philanthropy. We are grateful you and your professional staff have risen to the challenge of these extraordinary and stressful times to help us navigate in the midst of uncertainty while upholding our mission all the way of caring for Jews in need. You should all know too, we are working diligently on the path of getting the staff back to its home at 7800 North Haven later this year that was severely damaged in the October 2019 tornado. In addition to what I have already mentioned, we continue to be focused on community security. As I said last year at the annual meeting, I still believe it must become the new utility like water, gas, and electricity as we plan with our communal partners. Our Community Security Initiative, known as CSI, is essential to every agency and congregation in this community, and we must pursue it with heightened collaborative urgency. It was put to a test just this past week with Federation coordinating extra protection for the Holocaust Museum located in the middle of downtown Dallas, where trouble boiled over and threatened its new building. We have no doubt it will be tested again somewhere else. We will continue to be the important community convener in times of need and opportunity, and we will always do so from the perspective of respect for different opinions while maintaining our nonpartisan stance in these politicized times. Our Jewish values and mission statement will be our guide. New leaders from our Young Adult Department, National Young Leadership Cabinet, Women's Philanthropy, and our professional affinities, including physicians, dentists, accountants, attorneys, financial, real estate, and other professionals, will continue to find open ears and seats at our table to ensure the next set of top Jewish communal leaders. Our pace setters will continue to be inspired through programs to increase awareness, a critical area since pace setters comprise about 70% of the total amount raised each year in our campaign. We must creatively think out of the box about the future campaigns and how to move the needle. I also look forward to launching robust initiatives to grow our endowment fund in support of the Federation's work. We must think with a longer time horizon about what our communal needs will be, not for the next year, but for the next generation, especially with the estimated $1 trillion in wealth expected to pass on to the next generation. We want to do all we can to imbue the paramount importance of Jewish giving in our family's designated philanthropy, which is why the new national program, the Jewish Future Pledge, is something we are embracing in Dallas. Please check out their website at jewishfuturepledge.org. This year, more than ever before in our lives, we should all be thankful for the love and support from family, friends, and our incredible community. We are all in uncharted waters with the virus catastrophe, but we all have a story to tell, and even with the burdens of the past 9 months from the tornado and the virus, we must recognize our lives are still overall far better than the generations who came before us. So investing in the Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas as the focal point of Jewish philanthropy in our community is like investing in an annuity that pays back for generations to come. I hope to continue this positive path for the next chair, Bill Finkelstein, when he becomes Federation Board Chair next June. Thank you to all the board chairs who preceded me, especially the 16 past chairs still part of our community, for their work in setting our community up for such success now and going forward. Finally, to my family, and especially Sue Ellen, the first year as board chair is like no other task I have been involved with professionally or philanthropically. You continue to be my biggest advocate and most trusted advisor, as you have been for the past 39 years. So with perseverance, we will overcome. Let us build a better normal. We recognize now more than ever that the strength of our community lies in our unity as we seek to ensure the continuity of a strong and vibrant Jewish community in Dallas, Israel, and throughout the world. That's what motivates me every day. Thank you all. And now I'd like to turn it over to Marion Feast, Federation's President and CEO. Marion?
Thank you, AJ. As I look out at all of the familiar faces on this Zoom call, I wish that we could be in the same space. Shake a hand, share a hug. I hope that we will all be together again in the very near future. This was not the inaugural CEO remarks that I had dreamt making a year ago, or even 4 months ago, when I would have touted all of our Federation's department's accomplishments. But then none of us could have imagined what the last year would bring. People have a choice when they face adversity, to feel sorry for themselves and to cower, or to rise above, prove resilient, and find gratitude in the lessons learned and for those who travel this path with them. When I took over the reins as CEO and president, aside from the goals that AJ and I set, I had my own goals: to share my passion for the power of the collective, the relevance of our Jewish Federation locally, and of being part of the National Jewish Federations of North America. We are much more than an organization that just raises money and allocates it. We do things for the community that no other single organization can do on its own. And I wanted to begin a robust community planning process, engaging all of our partners to help identify unserved needs and set funding priorities for the greater Dallas Jewish community. I could never imagine that the aftermath of the tornado and the pandemic would help me accomplish my goals in unforeseen ways that one-night remarks and community messages could never achieve. Post-tornado, the Federation informed the community with daily updates, worked with our partners, and made a special emergency grant to JFS for a trauma counselor. Our partner agencies, organizations, and schools had realized that we were not prepared with a community-wide emergency plan for man-made or natural disasters. The Federation brought in a JF&A consultant who led almost 75 professionals through a workshop to help us develop organizational and communal templates. Federation professionals quickly pivoted as we realized the community was looking to us to continue our core competencies: raising much needed dollars, convening the community, and developing future leaders. Although our Jacob Feldman building was uninhabitable, the Federation never stopped working. The same rings true today. 12 weeks ago, when shelter-at-home orders were mandated, while the Mankoff Center, which became our temporary workspace, closed, your Federation did not miss a day. On March 12th, we convened our Health Crisis Management Team, HCMT, comprised of CEOs from our partner agencies that work with the most vulnerable in our community, as well as rabbinic representatives and a representative of our Jewish educational community. Our initial objective was to ensure collectively that we would continue to meet the needs of those most vulnerable. Within days, the Federation opened a helpline and responded to those in need in coordination with JFS and JCC to ensure no duplication of services. After that first objective was met, our efforts turned inwards to meet the needs of the 70 Jewish organizations, schools, and synagogues in our catchment area. Now, as the HCMT expands to include others, we have become trusted colleagues, sharing valuable insights and working together to meet new challenges which seem to arise weekly. I cannot emphasize enough how the simple act of convening this group was transformational for our professional relationships and for the community. We are now more than colleagues. We have become family. We trust each other, rely on each other, and care for each other. Our community benefits today and will tomorrow by this enhanced cohesion. Just to give you a glimpse of how this cohesion has allowed the Federation to demonstrate added value. We helped navigate the PPP and small business loans for our 70 Jewish organizations, schools, and synagogues, and promoted additional funding through state, federal, and private foundation opportunities. Just 48 hours ago, we were notified by Artie Allen and Kathy Barker that because the Federation informed them of available care funds for agencies serving vulnerable populations, they were awarded $48,000 and $100,000 grants respectively. We advocated for increased rate of federal contribution to state Medicaid funds, and at the request of Melissa Orth and Lisa Brodsky, we were able to reach Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins and Dr. Philip Wong, Director of Dallas County Health and Human Services. Within 1 week, Dallas County adopted a new regulation that satisfied Legacy and High's urgent needs. And the benefit of being part of the JF&A system never rang so true. With free webinars on the PPP loans and on Loan Forgiveness Act, on the re-entry protocols and scenario planning, each one of these webinars was well attended by Dallas Jewish community professionals and lay leaders and were found deeply beneficial. With all the additional efforts dedicated to aiding our community during this pandemic, from what I already mentioned to tens of thousands of masks donated, which we will be distributing to our Jewish day camps, schools, and seniors, our Federation continued with its core business. The staff and board members called over 5,200 households to check in with those who supported our Federation to make sure they knew we were here to support them through COVID-19. Our Community Security Initiative completed 9 security assessments of local Jewish organizations and conducted 7 virtual security trainings, in addition to what AJ mentioned about proactively aiding the Dallas Holocaust and Human Rights Museum to ensure the building's safety during recent protests, all while keeping our community informed with daily situational awareness updates. With the annual community campaign coming in lower, but still among one of the highest campaign totals, combined with the directed philanthropy and emergency campaign, we will ultimately allocating more dollars to our community than last year. This, in part, is the result of the months of fence mending and trust building meetings AJ and I had with Meyer Bodoff, Andy Dropkin, and Lisa Newman, the lay and professional leadership of the Dallas Jewish Community Foundation. Together, we helped launch the emergency campaign, and with dollars continuing to be donated by members of our community, we are granting these dollars in collaboration together. None of our successes can be contributed to one person. A leader cannot lead an army of one. We recently conducted a pulse survey. 100% of the staff felt more committed to the mission and work we do than before COVID. And it's been a trying time. We, like others, had to furlough, place staff on family leave, or let go of personnel to be fiscally responsible and stewards of your charitable dollars. We have sunset some existing programs and redeployed remaining staff into positions that will yield more immediate return into our community. Led by department heads Anita Zussman-Eddy, Vincent Gamari, Sarah Goldman, Rabbi Mordechai Harris, Bill Humphrey, Odessa Beverly Johnson, Cindy Manis, Jamie Moore, and Lance Yeaman, our entire team has demonstrated their resilience, work ethic, and professionalism. COO Gary Wolf, you are more than my right hand, my confidant, and my trusted work partner. You have developed and demonstrated skills well beyond your job description. To our officers, board of directors, and all of our volunteers, your unyielding commitment to the Federation, to the Jewish community, and to Israel, especially during these unprecedented times, is so admirable, and our community is blessed to have your leadership. AJ, I don't know a board chair in our history that was dealt the hand you were, and you're still returning for your second year. Thank you. You have, and I know you will continue to lead with dignity, grace, and perseverance. I thank you for all you have done for me, for our federation, and for our community. There is a saying that goes, we make plans and God laughs. As such, I share my focus for the next number of months, which includes scenario planning with our community professional leaders, enhancing resources and time to our campaign, and to strengthening our community security initiative. Those I know are the immediate needs and will allow the Federation to be here for you and here for good, no matter what God's laughter brings. I'd like to now turn the program over to Mark Creditor, immediate past board chair and chair of our board governance committee.
Thank you, Marion. Tonight, we have the honor of presenting our proposed slate of officers and board members. Through the year, we have been working to elevate our governance planning, our leadership succession, and board and committee expectations from the perspective of the leader and of the organization. The stronger our lay leadership, board, and committees, the stronger our federation and our community. I'd like to begin by thanking the members of the Federation's Board Development Committee for their work this year. Carol Aaron, Sid Friedman, Yannette Hogue, Jack Jacobson, Jay Lieberman, Joel Littman, AJ Rosemarin, Wendy Stanley, Michael Waldman, and Jeffrey Whitman. Next, I would like everyone to recognize the board members whose terms have expired or whose portfolio assignments have ended. Stephanie Eisenstadt, Angela Horowitz-French, Lisa Atlas-Jenikov, Shelley Glazer, our CJE chair, Robin Kosberg, PNA chair. On behalf of the Federation and your community, I want to thank you for your outstanding service to our community. Your time, your energy, and talents are so appreciated. It is now my pleasure to put forth to you tonight the nominees for the Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas officers. AJ Rosemarin, Board Chair. Other officers and board member positions will be read in alphabetical order by last name. They are Neil Beckerman, Treasurer, Pam Hoxter-Fine, Vice Chair, Bill Finkelstein, Chair-elect, Dot Heyman, Vice Chair, Mark Creditor, Immediate Past Chair, Nate Levine of Council, Michael Newman, Vice Chair, and Kevin Paylett, Secretary. Board members nominated for a 3-year term: Sid Freeman, Brett Lazarus, Dan Levitan, Dan Prescott, and Sharon Wish-Ray. And thank you to our board members who are continuing their service. Board members with 2 years of service remaining: Dia Epstein, Mike Grossfeld, Jonathan Rubenstein, Shane Stein, Ben Weinstein. Board members with 1 year of service remaining: Shiva Beck, Harold Gernsbacher, Alan Goldman, Susan Levy, and Jeffrey Whitman. Also appointed by the chair for a 1-year term are Neil Goldberg, Mike Hirsch, and Nate Levine. The following are nominated as board members by virtue of their portfolios: Meyer Bodoff, Dallas Jewish Community Foundation CEO. Kathy Sweet-Brook, Women's Philanthropy. Andy Dropkin and Lisa Newman, as of November 2020, Dallas Jewish Community Foundation Board Chairs. Alan Goldman, Financial Resource Development. Stephanie Hirsch, Center for Jewish Education. And Perry Kaufman, Finance Chair. Rabbi Michael Kushnick, Rabbinic Association of Greater Dallas. Leslie Lux, Planning and Allocations. And Cindy Sweet Moskowitz, Jewish Community Relations Council. Is there a motion from the floor for the election of the nominees to the board of the Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas?
Mark, I make a motion to accept the proposed 2020-21 Board of Directors and Officers.
Motion by Joel Littman. Will someone please second the motion?
Mark, I second the motion.
Second by Elise Power. Now, for those of you who are joining us this evening from your computer, laptop, or iPad, you will see a poll appear on your screen asking for a vote of yes or no. Please take a few moments to cast your vote now. Our Zoom hosts will tally the votes as they come in and provide, as they come in, the results of this online voting momentarily. Unfortunately, Zoom does not have the capability of attendees casting their vote on the polling mechanism if calling in from a cell phone. So for those of you who are calling in tonight, if you are in favor of the proposed board slate, please push *9 on your phone dial pad now. And for those of you who just voted, we need to clear your vote. So please press *9 on your phone again. All opposed of the proposed slate, press *9 on your phone dial pad now. After you have cast your vote, please press *9 to clear your vote. Can we please see the results of the poll? Marketing is collating our poll results as we speak.
They are still calculating. Give us just a few moments.
AJ, would you like to sing the Star Spangled Banner?
I think you really did a fine job, Mark. I don't have a piano here, so I'm sorry. Got to pass.
It was my pleasure, and thank you.
I can sing it.
Now,
I have just gotten notification that
the votes are in.
votes are in.
Motion carries.
100%.
Thank you very much, Marion, and thank you very much for all of you involved tonight on our board and your willingness to serve and lead. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our business for this evening. We hope that each and every one of you continues to stay safe, continues to stay healthy, and most importantly, to continue to stay connected to your Jewish Federation. We look forward to all being together very, very soon. Good night and thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for attending. Stay well. Good night.
Good night. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well done.
Well done is right. Congratulations. Good meeting.
You.
I hear AJ and Miriam's speech again. I missed him.
We recorded it, Neil. I memorized it, so I don't even know what would be the same.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Nate.
Good night. Bye.
Nice job. Good night.
Good night, dear.
Good night.